months of training. We'll be wrapping up today with a lecture from Dr. Aibonoga, who will be taking us on scientific presentation. As we have mentioned during the course of the training, it's not enough for you to do a research work or write a manuscript. It's also important to disseminate the information you get from your research, and doing it well is an important task or skill you need to learn, and that's what Dr. Aibonoga will be doing today. It's instructive to note that we brought someone relatively young to take care on how to present, so that you don't think it's a skill that is too far away from you, something you can learn and you'll be able to do it appropriately. Dr. Aibonoga, over to you, sir. Please share your slide. Oh, great. Please place it on slideshow. It's on presenter view, yeah. Hello, Dr. Aibonoga, are you having difficulty sharing it?
I think we
Hello,
lost him.
Dr. Aibonoga.
I think we lost him.
Oh, let me reach out to him. I'm sure he's trying to join back.
Yeah, it must be internet challenge.
Yeah, so while we wait for Dr. Aibonoga to come back, I think we can get experiences of fellows on presenting at scientific gathering. Has there been any of you that have made presentation I want to share? Oh, Dr. Aibonoga is back. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. I'm so sorry with the glitches. Please, I want to confirm if everyone can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I'm excited to join you people this morning. My name
Can you
is
speak
Aibonoga.
louder? Can you
Okay,
speak louder?
definitely, ma'am. My name is Ehis Aibonoga, and this morning I'll be taking you on making an engaging PowerPoint slide for scientific presentation and public speaking. And just like I heard Dr. Lawa talking to you about the importance of having this skills. And before I continue, I would just like to tell you that generally our students, which I am sure most of us are, we all have to give presentations at different points in our life. Sometimes it could be in school, it could be in conference, and it could even be part of innovative competitions, which many students are engaged in these days. And sometimes, probably after medical school, it could be as part of presenting your ideas to startup founders or even policymakers. The point is that wherever we give this presentation, what you want to do is that you want to make sure you leave a great impact on your audience that is quite memorable, and you are able to communicate what you are presenting to them in a manner which they will understand. This basically are the key points, or we'll just quickly go through. The truth about presentation, scientific presentation, um, public speaking, is that your skills or the your how good you become comes with experience. So I could just tell you these are the things we will do today. But honestly, until you start getting involved through class assignments, getting involved through presentation in different postings you do. I know most postings in medical school or dental school tend to do presentations like O&G, community medicine, pediatrics, and the likes. So all that actually is what form the basis of your experience, and those are actually what would culminate in you having proper skills or better skills. We all are evolving, even me that is speaking, I'm basically evolving. So learning comes with doing. So the key points is that we look at what are the importance of good slide design, knowing your audience, the importance of using visuals effectively, not just using visuals, data presentation, slide layout, fonts and color, interactive and dynamic elements, public speaking tips. So just look at some tips and look at some basic rules in building engaging slides, and just talk about some final tips for success. Then we'll take some questions. So the importance of good slide design. Um, design why good design matters in scientific presentation, because it actually communicates complex ideas clearly. The main objective about presentation is communication. When you talk, people understand. There is no need to present if people would not understand what you are presenting. So the central role of your presentation is breaking complex ideas clearly. And in order to break complex ideas clearly is to actually have a good design, a good slide design. Also, it keeps the audience engaged. So when you have a good slide, it keeps the audience engaged and it supports the narrative flow of your talk. And before you actually go to make any presentation, whether in a conference, whether to your teachers, whether in as a pitch to startup founder, the first thing is to actually know about your audience. I'm sure if you are going for interview, the first thing you want to do is to read up about the company, read up about the person interviewing you. If you are able to know the person that wants to interview you. Likewise for presentation in scientific conference or in school. So you have to know the audience, because knowing the audience helps you to know what may be regarded as too complex. If you are presenting to children, what you'll be presenting will be different from if you are presenting to adults. Of course, if you are presenting to a scientific conference where people that will be listening to you are basically people from that core field, what you'll be presenting to them, the way you'll be talking to them will be different from if you are presenting a scientific discourse to the general public. So the first thing, knowing your audience, that's similarly important. And you also have to know that in a slide, less is actually more. Um, uh, Sometimes, especially in medical school, I think the slide presentation, when you are presenting some research in medical school, might be a little bit different from what you do when you are in scientific conferences. Because I remember in medical school, when we are presenting our O&G projects, we basically had to put a lot of things in the slide so that the professors that want to judge us would know that, oh, we actually did all this. But so that's also bring me back to the point that know your audience. So you have to know your audience and know what they want. So what is generally accepted may be modified if your presentation has to be probably within medical school. So less is more. What that does simply mean is that crowding a slide is not the best option. So put as little as possible, because you want the focus to be on you, not necessarily your slide. Um, a particular research actually shows that people processing visual and sound, they actually do it not perfectly. So when I'm talking, it's either you are listening to me attentively or you are quickly trying to read what is on the slide. So sometimes you juggle between listening to me and reading what is on the slide. You like to actually keep that at minimal. You want to ensure that what is on the slide is so small that even if the audience want to quickly read what's on the slide, they can quickly do it and get back to me and listen to me more. So you want to avoid clutter. So despite the fact that you want images, you want graphs, you want to ensure that it is as minimum as possible so that the focus is on you, the presenter. You also aim for clear, readable fonts and sizes, which is extremely important because, especially if you are presenting to the older generation, you don't want to extremely stress them, especially if you are presenting in a gathering where it's not even with the laptop. Like you are in their front, they are sitting in an audience, and you are presenting on the screen. You don't want them to be squinting just because they want to see what is being written on the board. So you want to ensure that the font sizes and the types, they are all uniform and they are of appropriate size for the audience you are talking to. So visuals are extremely important. People learn very much on visuals. In short, there are some presentations where you see, especially tech presentations, you see that there may not even be text. It will just be visuals all through. When people just look at the visuals and they listen to you attentively, it's quite effective. However, you have to know that visuals that you'll be using will be of high quality and those that are relevant only. So, though visuals are important, you want to ensure that it is those that are relevant. Not because, okay, visuals are important, let me add every visuals. No, only those that are important, those are the ones you'll be including in your presentation. So, as much as possible, if you have diagrams or graphs that you feel will effectively replace long text, use that. Use visuals for that instead of putting those long text, and ensure that whatever figure you put in, though it has been said in the text that, oh, the figure below represents this, ensure that you also caption the figure appropriately. That is quite important. Data presentation, definitely, we know that when we are talking about research presentation, research literally is just like explanation of data. So when you do research, it's basically you are getting data. So data research. So presentation is basically explaining the data you've collected, the data you've analyzed. So when you are presenting data, you want to ensure that it's clear. You avoid too much overload, too much data, too much visual representation, and you ensure that the charts or the graphs that you are using to highlight this data, you ensure that they are as simple as possible. Because just like I said before, you don't want the listeners to cut you off and trying to figure out what your slide is saying. And you ensure that you use consistent color coding for clarity. If you look at this particular figure, you would realize that the second one is better than the first one. Because the first one, you start squinting and trying to figure out what each of those colors represent. And second one, you would just easily see that, oh, this basically shows the production volume ahead of budget. And you see that each of the continent, the European continent versus US versus Asia. So definitely you don't want to put your listeners in this particular mood. What the hell is he talking about? So in some presentations, you may actually be able to put animations. This is mostly you see this mostly in tech presentations where they want to show you how something is being used. Also, when you are trying to present to policymakers about probably trying to pitch them into an idea you think carrying out in the community, how effective your idea would be. Using animation is actually quite important too, because this actually sometimes show their emotions when they see things being displayed in real-time, in quotes, in real-time. So you can definitely incorporate videos or live demonstrations because this actually helps to engage your listeners very well. So effective delivery comes with practice timing and smooth transition, using body language and eye contact to connect. Very important, especially if you are physically present there. and try as much as possible to speak clearly. Repetition is good, especially the ones that emphasize the main point. So you could be presenting on a particular topic, and there's a particular take-home point you have in mind to ensure is driven into their mind by the time they are leaving there. You could actually try to repeat it after some couple of slides, repeat it again. Yeah. And ultimately, just like I've said before, practicing, practicing, practicing. That's the most important thing. When you don't practice, these skills would not come easily. So practicing would help you to get the skills that I have basically talked about before. So the best practice PowerPoint presentation tips. So just like I've said before, you ensure that you don't clog up your slide with a lot of text. So some people talk about using the rules of theory. Some talk about using the rule of 8 by 4. So ultimately, the central point is that you don't want to clog up the slide. Sometimes there could just be 3 bullets per slide. And each of the bullet point should not exceed 8 words. So regardless of what I just said now, you also want to ensure that the very first point of knowing your audience is adhered to strictly. Knowing your audience helps you so much in knowing what you should include, the terms you should include, how much you should try to explain the points you are making. And just to reiterate the fact that you want to ensure that the text fonts and their sizes are uniform also. Okay, some of the presentation blunders to avoid are some of the things I've spoken about before. Just going to a slide presentation without practicing. Practice as much as possible. Practicing helps you to be able to know your strong points, how to transition from one idea to another, and how to actually be able to do all your presentation within a specific time that has been given to you. So because of this, you have to actually practice and ensuring that you actually try to go through your slide before the main presentation day. And ensuring that the first time you are presenting is not in that scientific conference, that national or international scientific conference. Ensuring that you have actually been presenting in class presentations, in local conference that's probably organized in your hall of residence or your university community. So those are some of the things you have to ensure to put in mind before you go to those other higher presentations. Okay, this is basically a takeaway from one person who is regarded as one of the best presenters in the world. I'm sure we know about Steve Jobs, who is dead now. He basically has this way of visually stimulating his audience and making them want to know the answer to a question. Now, the truth is that whereas um, this is quite great, this may not necessarily be what you would incorporate into your own presentation. Just like I have said before, his audience may be quite different from your own audience. His presentation is mostly to the tech world. Presentation is in the tech world, and yours might not necessarily be in tech. It might be in a scientific conference that does not really have to do with anything technology. So final tips for success. So last minute check, double check for consistency, your fonts, color, alignment, and test your slideshow on the presenting device. Whereas this is very important, there are sometimes, unfortunately, for some reasons that you did not really prepare for. Things might not just work out perfectly the way you wanted. Like while I was trying to join, I was having some network glitches. So what some people try to do is to ensure that they have a backup plan. They may have a print out PDF version, or they may actually have multiple devices so that if one device is failing, the other one could be used easily. So I actually have a particular video, credit out for that reading. The last video here, you could actually watch it, is this 3 minute thesis. I'm sure you know about 3 minutes thesis. It basically started in Australia. It has got it is now done in many schools, especially in the US right now. So it's actually a competition where PhD students present their research to the general audience, which simply means among the audience we have scientists, we have the general public there. So they listen to their presentation just for 3 minutes. So you want to distill. You might have been carrying out your research for about 4 years, 5 years, and you want to distill it within 3 minutes. You want to distill that research to the general public. Um, that's what basically these PhD students do. If you watch a lot of their presentation, that would actually give you an idea of best way to present to audience, especially the fact that these people do not read book because you have just 3 minutes to tell people about your research. And the person that won that of Stanford last year is one favor, Nemesis, something like that. As that's actually the video I put here. It's actually quite beautiful. You see the transition. It's just 3 minutes video, and she came out as the best presentation. It's actually a beautiful video. And there are also there's one other Nigerian also doing a PhD, I think in Texas. He also won his own school's 3 minutes thesis presentation. The video is quite good. So you can actually go through all that. So in conclusion, um presentation, scientific presentation, public speaking actually comes with experience. Once you've known, it's just like grant writing, research grant writing. You could actually get lectures. You could actually be offered lectures, do courses on the best presentation skills or on the best grant writing styles. If you don't go into the field doing it yourself, you might not actually be good at it. Yeah, just like research writing as well. As much as possible, try to get yourself involved by submitting abstracts to local conferences, national conferences, and international conferences, as the case may be. Try to present to your friends. These are try to incorporate myself. So I try to present to my friends. They make corrections, and you can listen to many other presentations. And in all this, what you have to put in mind is actually knowing your audience. So this is actually a very short lecture, and I will give room for question and answer before um, Prof. We eventually conclude the lecture and give us some more tips. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Could I just first of all, just to say, Daniel, that was beautiful, brilliant, and thank you. Dr. Lawal, can I just add maybe about 3 slides to his presentation, if that is okay? And then we'll open it up for discussion.
That's fine, ma. Thank you, ma. Yeah.
All right, thank you. I'll share my slides. It's just to add to complement what is said, but I think it's very important. I continue to still see the challenge. Sorry, just a minute. I still see it, and I'm amazed that the challenge still happens in these days. You know, so this is what I think matters. If you remember in Daniel's presentation, he talked about templates, the colors, the text colors matter. Please note that when you do presentations, it's supposed to be, as much as possible, there must be a lot of white background with contrasting text. He noted it. I just want to give some specificity. When we do contrasting text, it's white and black. I love the ones that do black and white. But don't use red and green. The irony about red and green is that you doing the work can see it. Don't use red and green as text. Don't use red as text. Don't use green as text. If you want to use red or green, maybe you want to highlight one word or a phrase. What happens is it takes the attention of people to that text, and then they know that you want to say something about it. But when you now write with red and green, people don't see it. People don't see it from afar. It's too much. They don't see it. It doesn't contrast. It doesn't speak well. So you don't write. You write with black, you write with blue, you write with dark colors against a light background. That's very important. Don't do things like this. I think don't when you're doing a conference presentation. Of course, when you're doing maybe light things, all this transition may be fun. But if you're doing a conference presentation, this kind of transition is important. Like I want to highlight, have listed what I want to say. Now, when I go to high contract, it means I want to talk about it. When I talk about templates, I want to talk about it. All text, single color, I want to talk about it. That's why it means I want to talk about it. So it allows you to transition and highlight what you want to talk about. But don't do it as if you're not doing that kind of transition with your talk. Don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. There's something else also you want to notice. If you remember, Daniel talked about font. Please know that your headings best with 44 points. Do not go less than 34 points. The body, 36 points. Do not go less than 28 points. Do not use more than 2 fonts per presentation. This is one of the highlights I see. You see this font here, that font here. You see font 28 here, you see font 52 there. Avoid italics and don't mix case text. The other thing that I think I want to highlight here, it just skipped my mind as I was talking. Okay, so yes, only do 1 point per slide. So if I want to write a narrative, ideally for a PowerPoint, you don't write narrative. Ideally for PowerPoint, you don't read. Remember what it said? It said PowerPoints. Repeat after me. PowerPoints. Points. They are powerful to project you. So your PowerPoint is supposed to be points for you to talk about. Like this, eye contrast. This is the point I want to talk about. This is the next point I want to talk about. This is the next point I want to talk about. This is the next point I want to talk about. It gives you a reminder of what you talk about. Your PowerPoint, you speak to your points. You know your points. This is just helping you to know your point. Otherwise, if you want to speak to each, maybe you're reading or something, but it isn't a reading point. If for any reason, for example, each of those 4 points, I want to write a paragraph so as to leave memories with the attendees. I might want to say more than a paragraph. I might spend 1 minute talking about the fact. But if I want to leave memories and or I'm going to leave the slides so that it can be used as a teaching slide, 1 point per slide. So my slide number 1, I will talk about eye contrast. My point number 2 is about templates. My point number 3 is all text, and point number 4 is avoid red and green. I hope it makes sense. And when you do that font, do not be less than 28 points. 36 points is better. Do not do more than 2 and avoid italics. And finally, what's the final? I didn't prepare for this. You can see Daniel told you must prepare. I didn't prepare, so you can see how I'm rambling. And when Daniel was saying, and when I teach my mentees, when you prepare, do a minimum of 5 practices before you go for present. As old as I am, I have done over 500 presentations in my lifetime. Well over 500. Every time I go, I still practice. I practice before I go for my classes. So that's the way it's smooth, because you know what is going on in your slide before you move to the next. So you are speaking ahead of the next. And if a challenge comes, you can still speak to your topic because you know it. And I get to that point only after 5. 5, I practice with myself, including I stand in the mirror and practice. So I know it. So what you see is that when you're talking, before you move to the next slide, there is no hesitation, because as I'm moving to the next slide, I'm already introducing the next slide before you get to the next slide, because I am in control of that. Okay. Images help, to doing things like, and I think my last sentence is that do not do more than 7 words per line, 7 lines per slide. Some people talk about the rule of 8, 8 words per line, 8 words per slide. Some talk about the rule of 6, 6 words per line, 6 lines per slide. But you see that by the time you're using font 28, you would not be able to do more than 8 words per line. Okay, so once you understand those rules, you find out that your presentation is attractive and people want to listen. I mean, and they respect you. The greatest respect and what changed my own life is listening to people who put points and then they speak to their points. When people read, it diminishes the power of ownership of what you want to convey. Okay? It diminishes the power of ownership. The second thing that also diminishes the power of your presentation is when you are presenting and you are moving a lot. Your body is moving, your head is moving, your hand is moving. It was my own professor that taught me that. What happens is that that movement distracts listeners so that rather than them emphasizing on the things you want to say, they are looking at the drama that comes with your head and body movement. It's a lot of training for Africans. It's a routine for Africans to move a lot with their speech. As they're speaking, their head is moving, their hand is moving. But when you see good foreign speakers, because it is training, they don't move unnecessarily. Otherwise, it distracts from the message. The only time you move is when you want to make an emphasis. You move the hand to highlight and emphasize a point. Your voice emphasizes a point. Your body movement emphasizes the point. Don't think I am good. I'm very bad with body movement. But I was taught this and I had observed over the years when I go out, I see foreign speakers that they are powerful because their body movement is very minimal. But when you look at Africans, we are always moving around the place, everywhere. And then you start seeing us say M. It is because those movements take away the power from your speech. It takes it away because your head is coordinating to many things. Your head is coordinating talk, your head is coordinating body movement, and then the power goes to the body movement, and then the M starts coming in. Once you can control your body movement, and it's training, I repeat that, you find that the power goes to your speech, and people hear you, and you're better off for it. I'd like to stop here. Thank you, Daniel. I just wanted to expatiate on the brilliant things that you had shared so that there's context to the issues you've raised. Over.
Thank you very much, Ma, for that input. I'm sure the hello. Hello.
We can hear you, sir.
You're audible, sir.
Oh, sorry, I'm on the road, so I wasn't sure I was being heard anymore. Yeah, thank you very much for the input, Prof. I'm sure it's well received by all and it's going to be made use of. So very quickly, we'll take questions and from the fellows. Any questions, any experience in presenting and what were your challenges? This is an opportunity to improve on your previous knowledge of presentation. Any hand up? Oh, great. I think I can see one. Oh, you Dele.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Ma. Thank you so much for the teachings. So it was very impactful. I have a question. I don't know how I can put it, but this topic is on PowerPoint presentation with respect to presenting scientific and with respect to scientific presentations and abstract presentations, things like that. So I wanted to ask, and our teacher told us that we should practice. Practicing is important, and although we present regularly in our schools, in our lectures, topical presentations. I wanted to ask if for someone who has not had any same time, with which I can practice abstract presentation. Is there another way one can? Is there another method or another way one can practice presenting scientific topics without having an already established research work in the works? I don't know if what I'm asking is. I don't know if it's quite clear. I know that we can present topics in our different courses in medical school, but I wanted to ask if it's a little bit different presenting research work. So I wanted to ask if there's any way one can practice without having so many researches currently ongoing. I don't know if what I'm asking
I
is
think I got your
understood.
point.
Thank you very much. Yes.
All right. Dr. Agbonaga, did you get our point? Our question,
Um,
rather.
okay, the network was a little bit bad at some point, but I just want to rephrase to be sure that I got the
Okay,
main
okay.
question.
Go ahead.
So, the main question was basically, though you don't have a lot of research publications or research projects ongoing, how you will be able to practice presentation, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
perfectly.
sir.
So yeah, okay. So basically, just like I said before, I said research presentation is basically explaining data collected during research. Now, research, we actually have different types of research. It could just be a review, a narrative review. It could be a systematic review. And again, you're saying something like presenting in school. So when you go through medical school rotations, you basically rotate through O&G. At least in Ibadan, I know the students have to present in community medicine posting, O&G posting, some other postings like that. So when you do this whole project, you most likely be able to present your findings to probably professors or fellow medical students. So you can actually practice with that. Also, you don't actually have to have a publication before you be able to present in conferences. If you have a local conference and you imagine, okay, this is the theme of the conference, what you simply do is that you go online, try to think of a particular topic, then start gathering data. Data could actually be from synthesizing studies that have been done before. It could just be a review of all the studies that have been done. So you could basically collect the data that they've collected before. You do analysis, which is basically a systematic review. So you could practice with presentations in your schools. You could practice with local conferences and even international conferences just by presenting studies that have been done before, but now you are presenting it as a review. So you can always create an abstract and submit an abstract to those conferences, and you can create a slide to present in the main conference. So you don't have to. So in summary, you don't really have to have research publication before you're able to do presentation. So there are a lot of ways to actually get data to present. A classmate of mine around 2021 in a particular conference, this AMSU Association of Medical Students, University of Lagos, he won a particular prize. What he presented was basically extracting data from the the NCD, NCDC website, basically the COVID-19 cases across each state, how it has actually changed over time, and trying to explain why he feel it was higher in some months and lower in other months. So basically, that was basically what he did, and he presented in that particular conference. So you can actually always present studies that have been done when you rewrite them as a review, as narrative review. So you are reviewing a lot of studies and bringing out a central point on this particular study, or you go and check some database and download the data there and reanalyze and actually present. So there are a lot of ways to get data right on and present in conferences.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Joy. Joy, go ahead.
Thank you so much, sir. Looking like getting more from us than reading through our slides. So I want to know, like, if your slides are supposed to contain fewer information, then maybe you have some key things you would have loved to pass across to them. Is it going to still be possible to give those information when you don't have so much things on your slide? I don't know if my question is clear, sir.
Okay, thank you for that question. I think the prof already explained that very well. So if you are the owner of your slide and you are the owner of the all the information you have in mind to pass across to them, the slide should just be a prompt for you. Like, oh, when you see a particular bullet point, you know, oh, I should talk about this information. I should talk about this particular idea. So that's basically why she said that you don't have to include all the information in the slide. It's called a bullet, it's called PowerPoint for a reason. So you just basically have to see the points that you want to talk about. Um, that is why you have to practice yourself. Practice when you see each point, each bullet point, what are the things you should tell the audience? So when you are going through your slide, it should not just be you are reading the bullet points only. You are basically telling them about each bullet point. So the bullet points serve as a reminder to you to know that, okay, when I see this point, I'm going to talk about it. So not necessarily you want to pour everything. Just like we have said before, your audience do not want to be juggling between listening to you and reading what's in your slide. You want to make the focus you. So when I was talking about some basic rules to building engaging presentation slides, I talked about you keeping the focus on you and not the presentation or the PowerPoint itself. So you want to keep the focus on you. Trying to keep the focus on you simply means you'll be the one doing the talk. You'll be the one telling them what you found out and not just the slide. The slide is just something they will just look at and they put the focus back on you. That's why she also said you should ensure that you are making one topic per slide so that once you open a slide, you know, these are all the things I'm going to talk about in this slide. And you are displaying a sentence at a time. So you don't want to bug them with so much information as text, but you want to tell them this information in speech. So in that way, the focus is on you because you are the owner of the slide. You know the whole information. The slide is not the one that contains the whole information. Somebody that did not attend your meeting, not just go through your slide and get everything you said in the particular meeting. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I could just add to that, what you said. Many times when you have your points, you will have you will have also another talking point. There are slides that you can have your talking points now that you might do all your reading. The points are there, but the talking points are down. If you feel you must write essays in your slide, that's what I said. Just do 1 point, 1 point per slide, each slide. So if you're going to write your essay inside your uh, slides, don't write don't write the essay for 5 points on a slide. Write your essay for 1 point per slide and let it be font 28 minimum. Ideally font 36, 7 lines, 8 lines, 8 words per line, nothing more than 8 lines per slide. Nothing more than. By the time you're doing 9 lines, you start to see it's crowded. The minute you put the ninth line, you will see the font will just shrink. By the time you put your 12th line, the font will shrink again. So it's a rule, or it's practice. And if you learn it appropriately well from the beginning, you're powerful. I think one of my most powerful presentation was when I did about a 30 minutes talk, and it was a single slide. I had the highest person, military officer in that place, come meet me. One single slide, but I knew my points. It was just points. And I spoke for about 30 minutes, one slide, 7 points on that slide. And those were many years ago, but it was because I was speaking what I knew. I wasn't going to go and research and be talking what I didn't know. I knew it. I could speak without slides anyway. So it gives you a lot of respect. I'm sure that's what you look when you look at American presidents and all them. They talk without slides. But what you don't know is many of them have prompters in their hands. That makes them know that there are slides, and with a lot more technology, they also use the technology, but they seem powerful when they stand before you and speak brilliantly without 50 words per slide. It's the same thing with our former vice president, that the lawyer, I can't remember his name now. He speaks powerfully because he can stand up and speak 1 hour. And his PowerPoint is just points. It's just points, but he speaks brilliantly. It's not because he just got there that day. All of them are the Mr. President, or the US president. If he wants to speak, they have practiced with his, with all his logistics people before he comes out. He doesn't just walk around. They all practice. Go and ask them. All of them, they practice. They will practice with their logistics person. When they're going through their points, they will change the points, and look things around. They practice when they want to go and do powerful things. When they don't want to do powerful things, of course, they can come there and say trash. So yes, thank you. Yes, Bobo Bajo is a brilliant speaker. But you know what? He has points. He has points. He would list his points in something small and it's there in his hands. You don't see it. But that is his pointer. That is his own PowerPoint. So I'll keep quiet there. Thank you. Over.
Thank you, ma. Sorry, Akonde Precious. Go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma. Thank you so much for the presentation, sir. So my question is, while following the maximum 8 points per slide, maximum of 8 points per slide, do we have like a stipulated number of slides? I mean, a maximum number of slides that we can have for an engaging presentation? Because I know that having a lot of slides can be overwhelming both for the speaker and for the listeners. So like, do we have like a standard number of slides that we have to follow?
Let me just respond to that promptly. Sorry, Daniel, I'm not taking over your session. I forgot I wanted to say plan one slide is 1 minute. That's the rule of the game. If they invite you to come and present 10 minutes, then you only have 10 slides to present. If they invite you to present 30 minutes, then you have 20, 25 slides. It's the rudest thing. It's the rudest thing for you to know the number of minutes and then you overstep your time. It is very rude. And then they told you the number of minutes. Then you start rushing through slides. Geez, what's the meaning of that? In fact, I look at those people and I say, but you came here, they told you your talk is 20 minutes, then you go and bring 55 slides. How come? However, if you had practiced, you can speak to 55 slides in 10 minutes because each slide is probably taking you 10 seconds. That's what practice is about. But the rule of the game is that one slide is 1 minute. One slide is 1 minute. And like I said, I've done 30 minutes presentation with a single slide. And what inspired me, I saw a colleague, Dr. Folabi from Nigeria, went to MRC Gambia. He was at this presentation. All he had was one graph. One graph. And he spent 30, 40, it was the most brilliant thing I'd seen. Not that I hadn't seen senior people, but for my own peer, my own colleague. And that's how I started. I spent one slide, 30 minutes talking. But it is after you have practiced that you will know how to pace yourself. You can have 50 slides. Professor Chinedu is one person I know, Babalola. She will keep her time, but the number of her slides, it can be 100, but she keeps her time. She will keep her time. She doesn't step over her time. So you must know your time, but the rule is one slide, 1 minute. Thank you. Over. Apologies, Daniel. I'm not taking over your show. Over to you. I'll keep quiet now. But I wanted to put that point. I forgot. I didn't practice for this session. I wanted to put that when I was presenting. Over to you, Daniel. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm sure it's well received. Daniel,
Thank you very much, Mark. I really appreciate that. You've really answered it perfectly already. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it, by the way.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just like I added on the chat box, you should also avoid a presentation where you have to start saying skip, 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 meaning that you put on the slide points that you do not wish to present at that occasion. So as part of preparation for a presentation, you should have only slides that are relevant for the engagement you have at that particular time. So don't bring in an old slide and just start asking them to skip or jump in slides. Always use your slides customized for the presentation you're going to make. I don't know if there's any other question or think. there are no questions anymore. Any final words, Dr. Akinoga, for roundup?
Okay, yeah. First of all, I want to tell you guys congratulations. I'm really proud of what you people have been doing and what you guys have learned in the past couple of weeks to months. This program started last year, and I'm friends with some of the people that went through the program, and I'm really proud of what they did really last year. And just to conclude everything we've been talking about since is the fact that you have to actually learn this thing by doing them. Professor today, whenever she talks, literally just there learning. I have actually gone through some of the things she has said, even online. And I think I spoke with Dr. Lawai about her one time. I said, like, the way she talks, like, I really love it. Now, the thing is that you would see that she emphasized the fact that she did learn these things by doing. Like when she was saying the number of times she practiced, me, I was here saying, oh, more, I don't even practice this much at all. So she has really practiced. So that's what I want to just encourage you people that right from your medical school, presentations in your class, it could be group presentation, instead of shying away from it. Like there are some people that tend to I can remember some of the projects we did in medical school. Few of us basically did the major work, do the read data collection, the analysis, the presentations. I was just going through the internet recently and realized that one of our professors published one of our work. He added just four names of the medical students that were part. I was part because I did the major part of the work. So instead of shying away from it, just try as much as possible to get involved, no matter how hard. The best way to actually learning these things, actually learning through experience. You can actually get a lot of lectures from it. And if that is all you do, I can assure you at the end of the day, you won't have learned so much. Now, the best way I've emphasized over and over is getting your hands dirty by actually doing them. So you can review papers and present. You can download data from different databases. There are a lot of databases which you can actually download data from based on your research interest, present to local conferences. And with that, as you are doing that, you become better in the slide preparation and even in presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm not sure. Kudus, are you still there? We can't hear you. Well, he did say he was on the road. I think we've come to the end of the program. If there's anybody that has questions, yes, please raise your hands. I think I heard Kudus say this is the last program for the entire 24 weeks. I celebrate all of you that were able to stay through to the end of the program. We acknowledge it wasn't all of you that were able to stay through. We also acknowledge that a number of you did have challenges. But if there was anything that I learned from the last court that made us go ahead and do the second court, was the fact that many talked about the fact that they learned resilience through this program. I recall one person stating that he could never know he would make it 100%, that he never knew, but he made it 100%. Others said they finally learned time management. Rather than playing with their Saturdays, they had to learn to wake up to do this. And I tell you, one of the things, real things we find in our generation, your generation, not my generation, your younger generation, is the absence of resilience. Many people have poor resilience. And you know what? It has increased their mental stress. Resilience balances mental stress. Being able to stretch enables you to accomplish. I've learned, I'm 58 years old, that there's no limit. It is you that decides the limit where you're going. There's no limit. And you can only get furthest by being able to stretch yourself further. You are stretchable. You don't stretch, you stretch yourself gradually. You don't stretch yourself to a point when you break now, but that there's a limit to what you can stretch to be seen in Papa seed. People imagine themselves to be on the moon and they have got into the moon. People imagined being on Mars. We're all driving cars today. There was a time it never happened. It was only a dream and an imagination. We're on web Zoom link. It never happened. We only did my own generation. It was an imagination, and people got there. We are using smartphones. I'm sure my own grandchild does not know a world without a smartphone. But it was imagination stretched. So that you can't do anything is because you have chosen to put a limit to yourself. That you can't do anything. There's nothing. I made if you come to my house and you're walking into my house, you see I drew something and I wrote impossible, but then I canceled the IM. So there's impossible, but I canceled the IM, meaning that there's absolutely nothing that is not possible. It's you that become the limitation to yourself. For those that have stretched themselves this far, I celebrate you and I congratulate you. And just like Daniel noted, this is the second that we're doing. You're encouraging us to do the third, just like the first did encourage us to do the second. I think we've gotten enough encouragement to do the third with you, with another set. Um, I don't know if Kudus is back, but I think we should. Okay, you're back. I think if this is truly the last, he'll probably give you one or two notes as to what we're gonna do going forward as we prepare for your graduation. And usually after your program, we go rest. It's quite tedious, and then we plan for the next year. I celebrate you all. Congratulations. Those that will be going for the ethics conference, I wish you well. I should see you there. And thank you, Daniel, for an inspiring talk. Over to you, Kudus.
Yes, thank you very much, Ma. And once again, let me congratulate everyone, both the facilitators, the lecturers, as well as the students for having gone this far. It's been a very fulfilling experience for all of us. So I've already communicated with those who will be going for the conference. The conference was 10th to 12th of December. Uh, I'll be giving further information on that. And for the person that will not be getting certificate of participation, it has also been communicated as well. So we have one more assignment before the end of the program, which is you've been asked to write and reflect a reflective essay. So that reflective essay you are writing, prepare it into a single page slide and submit it in a week's time. That's by next week Saturday. So by next week Saturday, your reflective essay, which you will write, should be ready, as well as a single page PowerPoint presentation, a summary of that essay. I'm heading close to a checkpoint, so I need to go. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Just to reiterate, remember your assignment, we need it for the book. So you have to do your slides to highlight what it is you've learned. We practice because you would also have to present also during the send off. And then we need those words for the book. So please adhere to this, or please don't let anybody beg you to please submit. I beg you. All right, have a good day. God bless. Thank you, Daniel, once again. Bye.